Interface Video presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care, and the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities.
Hello friends, and welcome to Fairfield Today. I'm your host, Paul Jackson. Thank you for joining us as we move into this fallish time of the year here in Lancaster and Fairfield County. Kind of the weather changing a little bit. We hope it's getting a little cooler. High school football is right around the corner. The festival is well in our background now, the Fairfield County Fair, which last week we talked to Tim Boris about that. That's coming up here in October, not that far away, just a couple of months away, and will be fair time, which is a wonderful time here in Lancaster and Fairfield County. And there actually is a little correlation from the Fairfield County Fair and the young lady I'll be talking to now, Carrie Woody, who's director of the Lancaster and Fairfield County Public Transportation. Carrie, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure to have you on, and we'll get that right out there. We had Tim Boris on last week. We talked about all things the fair, lots of changes going on to the fair with under his now leadership following the great many years that Dave Benson gave there. But some changes are bound to occur. But this sort of ties in with public transportation, right? You'll be helping people get to the fair too.
Yes. When I took over in transit about too long ago, we actually started running fair shuttles. So we will have fair shuttles that Wednesday through Saturday going to and from the fair. We'll have a pickup location at the River Valley Mall going to and from the fairgrounds, and then also on the east side of town at Tiki Pool. Mike Tharp, superintendent of the Parks Department, they don't use their pool in October, so he allows us to use that as a bus stop to go back and forth to fair shuttles. And we'll have signs posted, or you can check the schedule on our website, or you can call us and we'll help you through that. It's free to use, and so definitely please take advantage.
And you could just Google, Lancaster Public Transportation. You can get it that way too. You can find it or on the city website.
You can. Sometimes it helps if you Google Lancaster Fairfield Public Transit.
Okay.
But yes, either way,
instead of being in Pennsylvania,
should get you to us. Yes.
Okay, very good.
Or you can just Google City of Lancaster, Ohio, and you can find us on the city's website.
So then you have public transportation, you have the Parks Department, and you have the Fairfield County Fair,
yes,
all kind of working in tandem there. And I think that's probably an indication about how well organizations, and you work with a lot of them, being places that you drop off people, pick up people around town and the county, but how well people in this area and the government and many times the nonprofit organizations work together to make it all work.
And I will agree with that. I sit around the table at many state level meetings in my role as the transit director, and I'm often amazed at how well we work together versus other areas in the state.
Not that well.
Yes, it's amazing the community partnerships and community support that we have here.
How much more difficult would your job be if you had to just beg Mike Tharp to do something, or Tim Boris wasn't going to? You were on your own.
I wouldn't know.
It'd be very difficult.
They don't ever make me beg. They're so awesome.
It's nice to know.
Yes.
Yeah, it's nice to know.
They're so awesome. I don't
Dave
have to
Smith,
beg.
the administration, all the administrators that have been here have been pro transportation in the community, and I think that's, and we'll talk about the growth you've had, adding new routes and doing things, but I think that's one part of it. It's everybody is so accessible and wanting this to succeed.
Yes, I will agree, and I always get questions about how we've done this and how we've been able to grow, and over the last few years we've continued to grow while lowering our operating budget, which is huge for a government entity or any entity. And I have to say, it's nothing that we did, it's the community. The community has really wrapped around public transit, and they've taken the growth for us.
When you started, how many routes were you have initially? Did you have a couple?
We had 0 routes. We did all demand response, picking people up at their home and taking them to their location. We had 9 vehicles total, and we now have 27 with 4 on order. So we've continued to grow, and it's been an awesome experience.
And actually, you're to a position now where you're adding, a 4th route?
We've just added our 6th route.
6th.
So we have 2 in Pickerington, and then we have 4 now in Lancaster.
Okay.
So we're hitting basically 4 of the main quadrants in Lancaster. We hit South Broad Street and East Main Street on our East Loop. We hit Memorial Drive on our Memorial Loop. We hit West Fair Avenue, heading out Shoshone, Cedar Hill, that area on our West Loop, as well as Edie Road. And then our new Sheridan Drive Loop becomes Sheridan Drive heading out Rainbow, Independence, and Route 37 toward OUL, Board of DD, New Horizons, and then coming down by the fairgrounds.
Will that make a difference when eventually Thomas Ewing is built out there? Because that's going to be pretty much on your route.
Yes, it will, I'm sure, make some difference, especially when it's time to get to school. The hour that school starts and the hour that school dismisses, I'm sure it'll make a huge difference in our routes.
And so you continue over the years, more and more routes are added. Demand is probably what drives that. But how do you come up with the ideas that, well, we need one? Now, it's obvious we need them at the mall, we need them at public locations, we get that. But when you're thinking about adding a new route, is it people saying, hey, have you ever thought about doing this? Or what's the idea behind starting a new route? How does the genesis of that?
Oh, man, to go into it, we serve on so many different community level committees. So anywhere from housing to food,
So input from lots and lots.
Yes, a lot of input from different committees. Fairfield County Regional Planning Commission, James Mako, formerly Holly Matty, was there as well. They have helped tremendously. James Mako actually mapped out for us all of the low-income housing and all of the senior housing and all of the disabled housing.
Like so those are obviously peak areas that you think about.
Because those are peak areas.
Okay.
We combine that with a lot of the top trip generators. So when people are asking to go to the same location on a regular basis, looking at some of those top trip generators for us, like the hospital, Veterans Services, the health department, OUL, and looking at those type of things. And then we overlay that into the map that James Mako provided us. And then also input from all of those committees that we serve on. And then we put all of that together. We include those in all of our public meetings. And then we also do surveys of all of our riders, and we put all of that together. So it's a very cumbersome process, and we try usually planning at least 5 years out so that we get all the information that we need.
If you were, and I believe you are the queen of public transportation in Lancaster
I'm going to remember
County.
You said that.
I'm just saying that now. If you could just take your wand and tap and say, this is what would happen today, regardless of the money, and certainly government financing we know is tough these days and probably getting a little tougher. Is there anything you would like to do in this public transportation area that right now is kind of off limits? If you could do anything you wanted, was there another route or another area or another amount of vehicles you'd like to have, all the above?
Paul, I have a list. I have an entire list. So when I first started in transit, we started making a list of everything pie in the sky stuff that we would like to add in our public transit.
And some of that's come about.
Every time we implement something, we scratched off our list. It's like a job well done. Something that we think would be awesome, in addition to more routes, more buses, later evenings, weekend hours, we would really like to get some of the technology in. So having kiosks where people can purchase their bus tickets without having to use cash or come to our office to purchase prepaid tickets, having the fare card readers in our buses, having signs where our buses stop to say the bus is 2 minutes out or the next bus will be here in 2 minutes, to make it easier and helpful for all of the riders to really understand where the bus is, when it's coming, if there's a delay, and all of that kind of fun technology that you see in some of the larger systems.
So I suppose all that always comes down, and doesn't it always come down to money?
It always comes down to money.
Sure. But you've made, like you say, you've ticked off a lot of these boxes over the years you've been here, because, like you say, from originally on-demand kind of thing to now, 10 different routes and things going on, 6 and 4 in Fairfield County and Lancaster and things going on. And now we talked about the one you've got going on with the fair. That'll be coming up here in a couple months. And again, people that's probably a well-utilized. How many years have you done this? Been with the fair?
9 years.
9 years. So I'm sure there's been steady growth in that area as people become more aware.
There has been, and what's been interesting for us is seeing how the growth occurs. When we first started this, it was a lot of the individuals that had maybe limited mobility. So maybe they had trouble parking in the gravel lots and walking into the fair, if they used mobility devices. Now we're seeing moms with strollers that want to be let off inside on the pavement. A lot of teenagers on the east side of town that don't have access to transportation because parents are working. They can take the bus and get to the fair, and it's quick and easy and free. So it's been interesting seeing how it changes with the people using it. So that's been a lot of fun. And we talk about the money side of things in our wish list. We actually did receive $100,000 from ODOT through a Tiger grant, which is federal grant, that we are getting a new scheduling software system that will allow us to use some technology, So when fair time comes, it's something that all those fairgoers can look at. They can sign up to receive text message alerts, so that if the bus is running late, it'll send out a text message to them, or they can sign up to receive a phone call. So we are slowly coming along, but like you said, it just takes money.
I talk again with Tim Voris, and again, the fair is coming up here and something they're going to be starting this year. And just like you kind of take baby steps to get into this, but at the Broad Street entrance, the main entrance, they're going to have card readers where you can use your card this year to use that, and that could lead into when you drive your car in, those guys will have them, maybe at all the gates. I mean, we'll see where that leads, but this is the first year, so this is some of the technology that probably would be very useful to you, you folks, the way cards are used now, not so much cash, the way young people don't use cash nearly like they used to. Again, but it takes time to implement that, and I'm sure you have a process that takes place.
Absolutely. And currently our riders, and this is a downside to transit, they either have to have exact cash because our drivers are not allowed to make change, or they have to contact our office to purchase a prepaid pass. So we would love for that to change. But again, all it takes is money. Now, we do have a great partner in 211 that will sell passes for us. So if individuals are in downtown Lancaster, they can always go down to 211 and purchase our passes. But again, it's still very limited on their options.
Did we talk about combination with Lancaster and Pickerington yet? Did we talk about that route?
We didn't.
Okay.
But that is something coming in September. We are going to combine the two Pickerington routes. Some of the feedback we've gotten from our riders in Pickerington is that they don't like having two routes. They don't like having to transfer buses. It makes a long ride. So we've kind of condensed those two routes, and we're going to do 1 hourly loop in Pickerington to make it a little more efficient for the riders and a little more efficient for our public transit system.
And if somebody wants to contact you to schedule some ride or some event or an ongoing thing where it's again and again every week, what's the best way to contact your office?
They can contact our office at 740-681-5086, or you can always contact us online, and that's the city's website at www.ci.lancaster.oh.us. So long, I know. But then you just go to the Department of Transit and it'll connect you.
Yeah, and again, Google Lancaster, Ohio Public Transportation, and that will lead us there.
Yes,
probably.
or Lancaster Fairfield Public
Lancaster,
Transit.
Fairfield
Either way.
Carrie Woody, who's director of all that, a lot of growth here in the last few years. I can remember as a young person seeing cabs and city buses around. I mean, that's what I remember. And you went to them; they didn't come to you. So that's your job now. You do a lot of just really whatever the public demands. That's kind of what you see the need for, and then respond to that. So
we try to.
Come a long way, baby.
Thanks. We're working on it.
Carrie Woody, thanks for joining us. Public transportation. Look them up. You can schedule them. New routes occurring all the time around Lancaster, Fairfield County. Lots of things happening. Were you busy for the festival? Was that a busy thing too?
Not as much for the festival.
Okay.
Yeah, the fair we get really busy. Not as much for the festival.
So coming up for the fair, so find out where the buses will pick you up and get there.
Yes.
All right, very good. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
We'll be back at Fairfield today in just a moment. Welcome back to Fairfield Today. I'm your host, Paul Jasson. Thanks, Carrie Woody, for joining us today and giving us an update on Lancaster, Fairfield County transportation. Carrie does such a super job with the city and all that's going on with transportation here in the area. I'd like to mention all these good folks here at Fairfield Federal. If you are a small business owner, one of the things that challenges you is time. There's never enough of it. You're trying to grow your business, you're trying to work your business, you're trying to do what you need to get your business to grow. And so often you can be pulled away by financial problems, financial questions, financial issues. And one of the places I think you could get much of that solved is here at Fairfield Federal. They have a whole area designated for business banking. So if you're a business or most likely a small business, I'd invite you to go to fairfieldfederal.com. They have an old button on there that you can tap on for business needs. They have personal, business, lots of areas. And again, it's a very comprehensive website. But if you go to that business area, they can talk about all the things they can do for you as somebody that is as an account person here, whether it's a business account. They have lots of online banking services, which is, of course, the new age of banking now. You can certainly come in here in the lobby, either here on the west side up in Pickerington, and utilize the lobbies and all the tellers and all the business people that are here that can help you. But you can do much of your banking, if not all, online. So that'd be something to think about too. And they can help you manage your cash and do things that would, again, just make your job easier and work on growing your business. Some of these money and money headache problems to the folks here at Fairfield Federal. So I would say go to fairfieldfederal.com, and that's a good place to start. And then you can call the local people here who make the local decisions, and they can help you kind of get into this cycle of how you can get involved. So it's fairfieldfederal.com. So often a good program or a good idea comes from a problem that somebody has had in their life. You see somebody that has dealt with some kind of severe issue, and they have successfully overcome that and then turned that in from a problem into something that's going to help them and help other people. And that's really what we see today. Our guest is Ashley Darfus. Ashley, first of all, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it very much.
Thanks for having me.
Sure. Ashley is the head of an organization called Hustle Hope, and I read about this. It's been a few weeks ago in the Lancaster Eagle-Gazette, and I was most intrigued by it. And again, I think it documented your personal problems of drug addiction and things that took you down some bad paths and some probably fairly dark times, really dark times from what I understand, overdosing and things like that. But from that, you've been able to kind of come out of it and become a stronger, better person. I'm sure you would agree with that. And now into this Hustle Hope. But so things started to kind of unwind for you as a young person?
Yes. I can't really name anything specific that started this path. However, being in recovery now, I now realize that really nobody's to blame for this.
Sure.
But part of my recovery is, by sharing my experiences, which is sometimes extremely uncomfortable, and being able to give back and help other people find the same path that I did, which is where, I envision Hustle Hope. So
is Hustle Hope something that's around the country, or is that just here in Lancaster and Fairfield County?
No, it's just here in Lancaster. We are a passion project ran through Key to Giving, which is a nonprofit.
Okay.
And Hustle Hope stands for Heroin Outreach, Prevention, and Education. So our first event that you had mentioned was, July 12th at the Ale House, and that was Stories of Recovery. And myself and, people I'm associated with came in and shared their stories, but we also had David Scheffler speak, and then Wayne Campbell, who's the founder of Tyler's Light. And we wanted to make an event that, where there was really all aspects. There was somebody who's a pillar in the community. There was people who have, lived experience, because the fact of the matter is that, heroin is here, addiction is here, but so is recovery, and sometimes that's not really noticed. So we did things to where we kind of, exposed both aspects of our life, the start of using to the progression to the end. We had a really good turnout rate, and we did very, very well. We had a lot of support from the community. So.
And we'll talk about that and where this all leads with this addiction. But your next event is October 29th, so it's a ways off. It's going to be a 5K event for families at the Fairfield County Fairgrounds, just down the street from this. And what will people be able to see if they stop down there to see that on? Is that a Saturday, I'm guessing? Okay.
I'm not sure.
Whatever day it is, it's October 29th. It's going to be a whole family event down there, and there's going to be a lot going on, right?
Yes. We're going to have kids' activities. We're going to have face painting. We just want to have an environment that's safe for children to trick or treat. We're also going to have vendors, any local businesses that want to participate. We also have CrossFit 740 who has partnered with us, and they are a great organization, and we're super, super excited for that. Obviously, Rise Realty and Key to Giving will be sponsoring us as well. So.
Well, I wanted to mention Rise Realty. This is somebody that in the last couple of years I see their name more and more out there as doing things in the community. So they've partnered with you, and I know they've been a real asset on helping your program get motivated and get moving on.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This.
What's the young Bethany Alexander, right?
Yeah, she's the owner of Rise Realty and the founder of Key to Giving. She's been a pivotal person in my personal recovery. And it's absolutely amazing that this started out as an idea, and she believed in me, and so it's expanded.
Now, when did you kind of get this idea to start this? How long ago was that?
April 4th.
Okay, so from April 4th, and here we are to the middle of August, let's say. So it's not been that long, certainly in the area that you deal in, just a few months.
Right.
And here we are getting ready to open soon your first house
Yes.
for women.
Yes.
It's transitional housing, would that be the
Yes.
correct term?
Yes.
And that's going to open. Could you have envisioned this when the light bulb came on and said, I'd like to start this program now, 6 months later or something, here we are?
No, absolutely not. I'm very blessed, and the community has really supported us. And through my own experience, when we sit and we talk about this horrible epidemic that's taking place, it was like, well, what are we going to do about it? And literally we go by ORH, which is Ohio Recovery Housing. So we have a structure. This is a 24-hour supervised house.
Okay.
That's going to house women. In the end, our goal is to be able to get grants to where we can take people who have no money, because that's really where the need is.
So the women now, what's the criteria for somebody to get into your home?
Oh, we have a whole slew of criteria.
Okay. So you have to get through a lot of hoops.
Once they're in, yes.
Okay.
We require screens every single day. We require them to receive, because with me and my experience, addiction comes with mental health issues as well. So we require them to seek services for drug and alcohol dependency and also for mental health. We require them to take part in 12-step fellowships. We require them to hold jobs, to maintain and transition back into society, whether that's school, getting valid IDs, driver's license. These are all things that we help them with. But to be in our house, and to actually progress throughout the houses, there's certain criteria that we have set for each phase.
Now, is there an end time that somebody can be in this? Because it sounds like you're requiring them to make steps
Yes.
to improve in their life, to make their quality of life better, to get better in the community. So is there an end time? Like, is it 6 months, a year, or somebody?
It's a year-long program.
It's a year-long program. But all along the way, there's the checks and balances that they have to
Absolutely.
help themselves. And you mentioned that so often people talk about the addiction. I mean, we hear that from drug courts. I hear it. I've talked to a lot of people on this show that deal with the sheriff, with the drug enforcement areas, with the police, even with the fire department who deal with so many overdoses and things that they deal with out there. But so often you don't hear the stories
Right.
that you did down in your July event
Absolutely.
about recovery, because there are, I'm sure, many,
Right.
as you are, a success story.
Right. And what's great about that is we got people from all elements of life. So, I was raised very middle class. My addiction started with prescription medication and then progressed. I was an athlete. There was, and we really just wanted to put multiple faces to addiction, because people tend to think that it's just a homeless person, with a needle in their arm under a bridge. And the fact of the matter is that it's throughout our whole community, and it's an epidemic. But we also wanted to say, okay, explain, because people who aren't in addiction don't really understand, okay, how can you do this? How can you choose this over this?
Yeah.
How can you continue to do this? And it was just kind of exposing the community to addiction doesn't have one specific face, but also recovery is here and recovery is present as well. And there is a strong recovery community in Lancaster. But most of them are 12-step fellowships, and they don't publicly come out. So this was kind of being able to touch base to say, okay, we're here, we're present, this is how we did it, and part of our recovery is giving back, and that's what we're doing. So.
My guest is Ashley Darfus. Ashley is a former addict. Is that how would be the correct term? Former
In recovery,
addict.
that's
In
it.
recovery, very good. And she is the founder of Hustle Hope, an organization that right now will be opening up in a month or so, maybe less, a transitional home for women to help them move down this process too. And I guess in our talking beforehand that in a perfect world, if this goes well, and there seems to be no reason it wouldn't, you want to move on from that. What would be your next step for men then also?
Absolutely, for men. And then down the road, we want to be able to have a transitional house that would be a phase 3 house, that not only has 24-hour supervision, but we also offer services there through Hustle Hope.
Have you, in your time here now, since just a few months ago getting this going, have you found that the city, that the county, that the government agencies, which I'm sure you have to deal with to get this going, have been receptive to what you're trying to do, or has it been difficult? Somebody like you who perhaps didn't have a background of this, moving through agencies and all kind of criteria to get things going, have you found it helpful that people have been there for you, or have you had to kind of make your own way on this?
To be completely honest, I've been very, very fortunate with the support that I have within my family, within my recovery family, with the support of Rise Realty, with the support of Key to Giving. They have really made this transition very, very easy for me. So
you've been fortunate enough to have good people pop up.
Oh, absolutely.
In your life that now, with your ideas and with some of their background on dealing with agencies, dealing with paperwork, that it's made it easier for you to move into this?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So your next event again is October 29th down at the Fairfield County Fairgrounds, coupled with Rise Realty, CrossFit. They're a big organization there. They got a lot going on, so good for them. They're joining you. How can people find out more information about this, or if they want to talk to somebody about it, what would be the best way?
We are actually, we have a flyer that's going to be coming out. We have a website, we have a Facebook page. You can also contact me at 740-475-7491 if you would like to register or donate or anything like that. Also, Key to Giving has a website as well.
And you're looking for, in a good world here, you're looking for businesses that might want to have a stand down there to talk to folks.
Absolutely.
And whatever it would be. There'll be a lot of people coming as first one, so I guess you open the window and we'll see who comes through,
Right,
but
absolutely.
it's always fun to do this for the first time. So you had a good event back in July, hoping for another good event on October 29th, and I think if you could just Google Hustle Hope, maybe Lancaster, Ohio, that gets you. You can get on the Facebook page, you can get information about you and what went on. So gosh, best of luck on this. We hope in the future we can have you back on, and as this women's transitional home starts, and as it moves beyond that to men, and I guess who knows where that will be, huh? Just lots of success stories. So good luck on helping the folks around here. I'm sure the community is 100% behind you.
All right, thank you
so
much.
Thank you. Sure. Ashley Darfus with Hustle Hope. Great organization just starting here in Lancaster and Fairfield County. That's our story. Thanks for joining us on Fairfield Today.
Interface Video presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fair Hope Hospice and Palliative Care, and the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities.